Coach, you can start us off some opening comments.
Yeah, just really excited to get started. Got a good mixture, a lot of experience coming back, but also spring want to focus on some of these young guys, some of these new guys, getting quality reps so we can build depth. So, but really excited. Want to keep working on. Felt like our culture really improved from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. So we just want to keep building on that, building on the positive momentum of the Egg Bowl, and just keep building on that culture. But really excited. In the spring, you want to think about players, not plays. We really want to focus on these young guys getting better. And we kind of break it into two parts, but we got 6 days here before spring break that we really, really want to focus on getting these young guys reps, and then we'll have 9 more days coming back after spring ball. To touch on some of the injury situations, offensively, we had some surgery, so some guys will be out. Dawson Knox, D.K. Buford, Devon Penniman, and Eli Johnson will be out due to surgery, and then you'll have a couple of guys that are limited early on. Alex Givens, DeMarcus Gregory has a knee. Scotty Phillips, Alex Givens, DeMarcus Gregory, Scotty Phillips. They're going to be limited early on in practice just because of little minor injuries from from training. They've been going all month, 2-a-days, weights and early morning runs. So there's a couple of minor things, but nothing serious. Sean Rawlings has a little lower back from doing cleans in the weight room. But we'll be limited, but we'll be fine. Defensively, Austrian Robinson, Benito Jones, and Kadir Shepard are all out for the spring. And Ken Webster and C.J. Miller are going to be limited. Ken Webster with a groin and C.J. Miller had a rib surgery, but should be out there, just non-contact. Position changes, I thought you guys would want to know about that. We're going to work in Armani Linton at running back, so we're going to move him from safety to running back, really try to focus on, see if we can get him some reps before spring practice. And if that really goes good, we'll keep him there, and if not, we'll move him back to safety. But we wanted to start him there so he could learn some of the terminology in the system. Vernon Dasher, I know he's listed as a linebacker, but he's going to be playing star, which is the outside linebacker, kind of a hybrid position. So that's where Vernon Dasher will start. And we've moved Brendan Williams from linebacker to defensive end. Especially with Kadir being out and Austrian being out, he'll give us some depth there for the spring. So with that, I'll open it up to questions.
You say it's about players and not plays, but in the same breath, you put in your systems last spring and last year. Is now a time to maybe expand your packages on both sides of the ball?
Yeah,
as well?
I think so. I think we'll build, because we're already so much further ahead now than we were even going into fall camp last year. So because we've kept the same system on offense and defense, we're going to be way further ahead as far as a schematic standpoint. So we really want to focus on getting some of these young guys that redshirted or were on the scout team last year, really working on building our depth. The guys like Royce Newman and Chandler Tuitt. On offense, on the offensive line, you got linebacker, Zy Baker, Momo Sanago, guys that you want to see play. We really want to focus on getting those guys reps, and I think that's very, very important because you only get 15 shots and you got to make every one of them count, and I think that's really what we're focused on.
Matt, what do you want to know at the end of spring about this team that you don't know now?
I think the biggest thing is I just want to see the culture continue to change. I want us to be a team. I don't want us to be offense and defense. I just want to see the team. I want to see who the leaders are going to be. And so I just want to – I kind of know who some leaders are, but I want to see some more leaders emerge of guys that will take control and hold other players accountable. That's really what I want to see. I want to see who's going to lead.
You kind of hinted at this a little bit when they took the interim tag off of you and you got the full-time job, that back in the fall when you were the coach but you didn't really have time or maybe even the gravitas to put your stamp on it. Obviously you do now. How much of that do you try to do in the spring, and what does that kind of stamp look like?
Yeah, and when I refer to culture, that's really what I'm talking. I'm just talking about little things, from the way that we're dressed to being out at practice on time, to showing up, everybody looks the same, to the way the locker room looks. The little things I think that are very, very important and the discipline of a team, just the culture. And I just want to continue to build on that, because you're right. I mean, we just want to take where it was, 'cause I think it improved from the start to the beginning, but we just want to take where we are and continue to build on that.
Matt, with Scotty Phillips being limited, what do you need to see from him in the spring, given what he could play, the potential he could play at that position?
No, and it's not a major injury, so I foresee him getting some reps. He'll definitely be out there doing endo today, but he may be limited in the team stuff. But, anytime you take a junior college player, you're expecting him to come in and compete for playing time. And that's what we want to see. He's the #1 junior college player in the country, and our starting tailback, Jordan Wilkins, is gone. So there's going to be a really, really good competition there at running back. You got a lot of confidence in Sweeney, and here comes a junior college running back, and then you got, moving Armani over there. So it's just, Isaiah Woolard is going to guy that's going to be competing. So you just want to see that competition. I think that'll be good.
Armani, why do you think he hasn't maybe break through the secondary? What do you like about him?
He's just a big, really good athlete. And when you have those guys on, that they're on the bus, you just want to find the right seat for them on the bus. And so we're really looking hard, because he's a very, very big athlete that's very, very intelligent. And I think, I think he can help us somewhere. And really, really came on at the end of the year in special teams. So I think he's got a place somewhere. We're just trying to find the right spot for him.
Matt, you've talked about culture a lot since the interim tag was removed, and discipline, and talking about wanting to see leaders emerge. Is that something you think this program lacked the last few years?
I mean, I don't know if it lacked, but you always want to get better. I just think the culture and the environment that these guys are in are the #1 thing. I think that's big on winning and losing football games. There's such a fine line between winning and losing football games in the Southeastern Conference. And the culture of your team and the discipline and the environment that you create and the mentality of your team when you're playing close football games, to me, that's the secret sauce. That's the secret ingredient, the mental toughness. The little things it takes to win games, and I just think that's important.
Based on your recruiting, it looks like you made a conscious effort to get bigger athletes. Is that a true assessment?
For sure. Always want to get, bigger athletes. But again, to be able to run the football and stop the run in this league, you have to be able to do that. And again, we know, everybody knows that we can throw it around and all those things, but we still got to be able to run the football to win games, and you got to be able to stop the run to win games. And I think size and the size of our guys, we needed to improve that to get better in both those areas.
Matt, this question we got all last year. You did linebacker position, leading tackler's gone. You got a bunch of them on scholarship. Where do you start to find the right ones?
So Dietrich and Willie will start there, but really Momo, Josh Clark, those guys we really need to see. Baker, we're really wanting to see what they can do, and I think that's going to be a huge spring for them. Obviously, you got more guys coming from high school, but they're not here right now. So you really want to see what these young guys can do. I'm cautiously optimistic about those guys, just because I think they've kind of waited their turn. They've redshirted, they've gotten bigger, they've gotten stronger, they know the system. So I'm really anxious to see them today out there making calls and flying around. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. Yeah, Dante Evans will be in there. We're going to really try to work some of these young guys. Even some of the older guys that we know what they can do. We want to see what these young guys can do, and that's when I talk about players, not plays. That's what I'm talking. We really want to see what these guys can do.
Matt, what's your biggest on-field concern heading into spring?
Probably we have some guys out on the offensive line, so depth in the O-line is a concern. Just with the injury, I think when everybody comes back, we'll be fine. But getting through spring practice with some guys out, makes it tough. And then obviously you have, Kadir Shepard, Benito and Austrian all out on the D-line. Those are just some key injuries of guys that are potentially going to be starting. So I think that's my concern. Then obviously fixing linebacker is a huge concern. And then you want to see what Matt Corral. We haven't talked about him a lot about him, but everybody's excited about Jordan coming back. But really excited to see what Matt's going to do out there getting the reps.
There was some talk about Jordan being injured his freshman year. Do you even talk about that till after his senior year is over?
No, I mean we're focused on today and getting better. If that works out, that's great, but, you know, you always, you know, prepare for the worst, and if it happens, it'll be a bonus. Yeah.
These guys that are missing all of spring training, you nervous about them for the fall, or you feel like?
No, I think they'll all be fine for the fall. It's just a situation right now where they're not going to be out there, and there's some leaders. So you know that's why we need some young guys to step up. So in a way that these guys not being there, we kind of know what they can do. So it's a blessing that some of these young guys get to play, and maybe some new leaders can emerge and create more and more depth. Because some of these guys that are injured, we feel pretty good about Benito playing. But can Ross Donnelly emerge as a leader? Can people step up? You know, can guys like Ryder Anderson, Chuck Wiley, can those guys step up and get 15 days better? I think that's a huge thing for us.
Coach, kind of off on one of the questions a minute ago, how you didn't really get to go through a full cycle of the spring and the summer last year and really put your stamp on this team. Do you think that the team that we're going to see this year is going to look different than the team that we saw by the end of last year, or do you think you kind of started to put your stamp on that team and we're going to see that again this year?
No, again, we want to start where we finished and keep building on that. I mean, I think that's the key, is you don't want to have to go back to where you were. You want to start where you finished and continue to build on that. That's we've talked about culture and things like that. I just think that's what we want to do, is continue to build on what we've already started with.
If the postseason ban sticks, is guiding them through that this year any different than it was last year?
No, I just think playing for each other. It's been well documented what you have to play for. These guys put in a lot. They work year round, and they'll be out there fighting for each other. So it won't be any different. Again, you prepare for the worst, and if something else happens, it's a bonus.
I'll give you a loaded question. What about your new hires, Clark and Summerall? They fitting in pretty good?
Really good. Anytime you can bring back a guy like Charles Clark with his experience, already working at Colorado, winning a Pac-10 South championship, Pac-12 South championship, and being at Oregon and bringing back experience, and he's a former player. That's huge. Been very, very impressed with John and his energy. And you could tell pretty quickly he's a linebacker coach. I like his toughness and his energy and his presence. I really, really like that. So I think they're obviously so far so good.